Everybody, I'm still in Cleveland, but I wanted to give a short video to talk to you about a couple of things I noticed that were consistent things to just watch out for the next set of speeches. We'll start with the introductions and conclusions. We've already read about those. Don't forget that the introductions and conclusions are sort of like the bun of a good sandwich. The bread is always what's most important. And you want it to be consistent, you want it to hold together. So for the introduction, we're looking for 5 things. An attention getter, all right, then we're looking for your point or your thesis, the audience adaptation, the credibility, and the preview of what you're going to say. So you want to make certain to have that grab their attention, tell them what you're going to say, tell them why they care, tell them why they should care to listen to you, and then tell them what's going to happen. The conclusion sort of works in the flip side. Imagine if you start with the attention getter, you end with the concluding device, in the introduction with the preview, so you begin the conclusion with a summary. So it'll go summary, concluding device. And ideally, the attention getter and the concluding device will be pretty much the same thing. They may even align one another, like the beginning of a story for the attention getter and the end of the story for the concluding device, and that helps a lot. So pay attention to those things. That'll help out a lot. One other thing to look out for are transitions or connectives, the movement of the speech along. You need those between the introduction and the main point, each one of the main points, and the main points and the conclusion. So remember, it's always tell them what you're going to say, and tell them what you're going to tell them what you just said, and then tell them what you're going to say. Now that we've been here, this is where we're going. Simple like that. But those connectives or transitions are very important and helpful. Most important, though, and the thing that I saw consistent across the board, were the lack of sources. Only a few people really cited the sources. Remember, when we cite a source, we're looking for 2 things said verbally. Most important, it has to be verbal. Otherwise, it doesn't do any good. Most of your audience members are not going to see your outline, for example. So you need to say those sources verbally. And it needs to include at least 2 pieces of the 3 that are out there. The author or authors that may exist out there, the title of the source, or the source itself. And by the difference between those 2 is what I mean. Let's say you have a magazine article by John Smith called Why Starbucks is Bad in the New York Times. So the title of this article would be Why Starbucks is Bad. The source would be the New York Times. So you could cite the source like, according to John Smith in Why Starbucks is Bad, or according to John Smith from writing for the New York Times, or according to Why Starbucks is Bad in the New York Times. Preferably, you'll give attention or focus to the author because they have written the source, but at least 2 of those things. If you can't find 2 of them, I'd question the validity of the source. So those are some important things to look out for that I pretty much saw across the board. I hope that you will remember those as we move forward, and I have enjoyed the speeches so far. I will do my best to give back the paper copies of the rubrics to you. Obviously, I can't do that from the hospital, so I'm going to make a short video going over each one of them for all of you and send that to you through Facebook, or through Blackboard, sorry. And then whenever I get back to Finley, I'll be able to copy those and send them to you. Honestly, they probably won't be very helpful because my writing is terrible, so you'll rely upon the printed words instead. So expect those shortly. Best of luck to you as you prepare for your informative speeches. I look forward to seeing those as well.